Welcome to the News Beacon, where we look beyond the headlines to bring you the deeper story behind today's most talked about moments. When it comes to former President Donald Trump, the public has grown accustomed to a certain brand of showmanship. The grandiose rallies, the fiery rhetoric, the jabs at opponents, and the unfiltered bravado that seems to pour out effortlessly. Yet, as political commentator and MSNBC anchor Rachel Maddow highlighted this week, Trump's latest public appearance delivered something so out of character that it could only be described as quirky and, in her words, inexplicable. In an unexpected shift, Trump appeared unusually calm, measured, and even, dare we say, presidential. The moment did not go unnoticed. Maddow, whose career has been built in part on analyzing Trump's bombastic style, devoted a segment to dissecting why this seemingly sober delivery stood out, and what it might mean in the broader context of American politics. At first glance, the former president's words seemed almost mundane, yet the tone was what truly caught observers off guard. There was no shouting, no exaggerated hand gestures, no scornful mocking of opponents. Instead, Trump spoke with a seriousness that seemed strangely out of sync with his usual style. Maddow summed it up as quirky, not because the content was extraordinary, but because the man delivering it has, until now, made a political brand out of being anything but restrained. Why Maddow noticed. Maddow's commentary matters because she is one of America's most prominent political analysts, renowned for her forensic approach to political speech and strategy. When she calls something inexplicable, it suggests there's more beneath the surface than just an off day. According to Maddow, this unexpected delivery could be interpreted in a few ways. It could be a deliberate strategic pivot, signaling that Trump is trying to project a more disciplined image as he eyes another White House run. Alternatively, it might simply be an accidental moment of composure, born from fatigue or circumstance. Yet, Maddow hinted that if this new, calmer Trump is part of a broader media strategy, it is both fascinating and risky. The former president built an entire political identity around disruption, defiance, and drama. A softer, more measured Trump risks alienating the very supporters who see him as the ultimate political outsider. A calculated strategy? Trump's media team has, in the past, shown an ability to shift tone when needed, particularly after controversies or in moments where a more presidential image could help sway undecided voters. Maddow raised the possibility that this moment might be part of a calculated move to appear more electable to moderates and independents, especially if legal challenges or political pressures force Trump to reinvent himself. It wouldn't be the first time a political figure has recalibrated their image. Historically, candidates have often tried to appear more centrist during general elections after appealing to the base in primaries. Yet with Trump, the transformation seems more dramatic because his brand has been built on a refusal to change or moderate. Maddow's analysis suggested that if Trump is genuinely shifting tactics, it would be one of the most quirky and unpredictable moves in modern American politics. Not because politicians never change, but because Trump has spent years insisting that he would never change. The audience reaction. Predictably, the reaction among Trump's core supporters was mixed. Some praised the speech as presidential and argued it showed maturity and depth. Others, particularly those drawn to his usual confrontational style, expressed confusion or disappointment. Political analysts noted that while the content of the message was standard fare, a mix of policy points and campaign promises, it was a delivery that set tongues wagging. Trump's words, normally punctuated by punchlines and insults, instead carried an oddly sober cadence. As Maddow put it, it's almost as if he read the words on the teleprompter and decided not to improvise. For a man famous for veering wildly off script, this alone was enough to spark debate. Impact on the media landscape. Trump's relationship with the media has always been a central part of his public persona. His unpredictable style guarantees coverage, with cable news often forced to broadcast his speeches live in case he says something shocking. Maddow suggested that if Trump were to maintain this more measured tone, it could disrupt the established media dynamic. Networks that have relied on his unpredictability for ratings might find it harder to justify wall-to-wall coverage of speeches that lack the usual fire. Moreover, if Trump genuinely embraces a calmer persona, it could put pressure on other candidates, both Republican and Democrat, to rethink how they engage with voters and the press. Yet, the question remains, is this a temporary blip, or the start of something more deliberate. The quirky factor. Maddow's choice of the word quirky is telling. It implies something slightly awkward, a performance that doesn't quite fit the actor. Watching Trump deliver a message soberly felt odd, not because politicians can't be serious, but because this particular politician has spent years defining himself as anything but. In a political climate often dominated by outrage, scandal, and viral moments, even a small deviation can feel seismic. Trump speaking soberly, without insults or applause lines, becomes newsworthy precisely because it is so unlike him. Maddow noted that this quirkiness might also undermine Trump's authenticity, the very trait that many of his supporters prize most. If Trump starts sounding like every other politician, does he risk losing the outsider appeal that made him famous? Possible explanations. So, why did Trump deliver such a restrained speech? Maddow offered a few theories. Legal pressure. Facing multiple legal challenges, Trump might have been advised by lawyers to avoid incendiary language that could complicate his defense. Donor influence. Major donors sometimes demand more disciplined tone in exchange for financial backing. Campaign reset. Sensing a need to broaden his appeal, Trump's team might be testing a softer image ahead of the next election cycle. Personal fatigue. Even the most energetic politicians can have days when they're simply tired, leading to a more subdued performance. Whatever the reason, the moment revealed the delicate balance between message and messenger. What comes next? The true test will be consistency. Was this a one-off moment, or will Trump continue to speak in this unexpectedly sober tone? Maddow cautioned viewers not to read too much into a single speech, but also suggested that if it does mark a turning point, it will be one of the most remarkable reinventions in modern political history. For now, the answer remains unclear. Yet, the very fact that political commentators are discussing how Trump spoke, rather than what he said, highlights just how powerful style can be in shaping political narratives. Outro. In politics, moments like this remind us that even the most seemingly predictable figures can still surprise. Whether Trump's unexpectedly sober speech was a genuine pivot or just an anomaly, it sparked a broader conversation about authenticity, strategy, and the role of media in modern democracy. Thank you for watching or reading. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.